like this, I think, in sport in Australia, because in the world of boxing, we've got the royal family here. Every big name in world boxing is here for this extraordinary fight on Sunday. The ring announcer we've spoken to, Michael Buffer. The commentator we spoke to yesterday, Bob Sheridan. Both the best in the world. Well, the man I'm about to speak to is an extraordinary figure. He has been the heart and the soul of boxing for the last 50 years. And the one reason this bloke has been the heart and the soul, unlike people in sport, he's very smart. He was an outstanding attorney, lawyer. And yet now, he's done more for the sport of boxing than anyone. Mr. Bob Arum. He was educated at the Harvard Law School, worked as an attorney in the Kennedy administration with the United States Department of Justice, but he's promoted roughly 16,000 fights. Everyone from Ali, Foreman, Sugar Ray Leonard and Manny Pacquiao. A couple of weeks ago, we sat down and had a coffee together. I could have listened to him all day. Amazing stories. In his own words, when he started, his accountants were still using, he said, Roman numerals, which is not true. He's only a youngster. But he's been a major part of pulling this together, and he's in Brisbane for the Horn-Pacquiao fight on Sunday. And here he is, royalty, Prince Arum. Bob, good morning.
Well, thanks for those compliments, Alan. I mean, it's early in the morning, but it's great to wake up to hear something like that.
Oh, it's wonderful. How many people will be watching this fight around the globe?
Well, we're looking for major numbers. For example, in the United States, it'll be the biggest audience for a boxing match since Muhammad Ali fought Leon Spinks. That fight was in 1978, and it was on terrestrial television, offered free to the public, and was the highest rated television broadcast of its time. It's since been surpassed by Super Bowls, but at that point in time and for years, it was the highest rated program. And this program will exceed it.
Amazing.
In China, we expect between their internet portal and their broadcast channel to reach 40 to 50 million homes. So, I mean, the numbers are staggering, and they really are.
Now, listen, Bob, you've been Manny Pacquiao's longtime promoter, but you have said, and you said to me the last time we spoke, you love the Jeff Horn story. He learnt to fight after being bullied at school. He's softly spoken, but he can fight. Now, as a promoter, you live and breathe boxing. You're always thinking 2 or 3 fights ahead. You're watching everyone. Our listeners want to know, what do you make of this young fella? And is he a chance of winning? Jeff Horn.
I understand. I'm not going to put on a fight with this much publicity and this much coverage if I didn't believe in the fight.
Right.
Now, last October, I was in Auckland, New Zealand, and Joseph Parker was fighting Andy Ruiz, who I promote. It was a great heavyweight fight, but the principal undercard had this kid, Jeff Horn, fighting a very good African fighter that I had heard of, and Horn took him apart. And Dean Lonergan had been telling me before the fight, this kid Horn is really something else. I hear that all the time. But when I saw this kid, I told Dean, I said, he has real talent, and he can fight anybody in the world. And when it became a possibility for Manny Pacquiao to fight outside the United States, and we decided to do his fight in Australia, there was Jeff Horn, and he was, in my opinion, a very, very good opponent for Manny Pacquiao.
Wonderful. Now look,
because he's not a kid that's going to, run and hide and do a lot of movement. He's going to take the fight right to Manny, and the people are going to see Manny is a very explosive fighter. A lot of guys fight him by running away, but not Horn. Horn is going to fight him coming at him, throwing bombs. It's going to be a really, really fun fight to watch.
Fantastic. Just on Pacquiao, he is the first and only 8-division world champion, considered one of the greatest pound-for-pound fighters ever. but was born into immense poverty in the Philippines, lived on the streets. His family struggled to find food. Now he's one of the greatest athletes on the planet. You've often talked about his fortune and how much of it he's given away to people living in the circumstances that he once lived in. He's built villages, fishing boats, houses. There are some suggestions he's donated more money to local poverty than the Philippines government. He is an extraordinary human being, isn't he, Pacquiao?
Yes, he is. And I mean, whenever I go back to visit him in the Philippines, he shows me a different project that he's financed. For example, there was about 6 months ago, he was in touch with me that he needed some amount of millions of dollars as an advance against future purchase. And I had just paid him a lot of money in a fight. So I asked him why he needed the money. And he said that he was building 1,000 houses in his province in the Philippines for poor people. 1,000 homes, which he gave away to all of these people. Now that's like something, I've never seen anything like that. Muhammad Ali was very, very generous with his money, but I've never seen an athlete I've never seen a person do what Pacquiao does for his people in the
Philippines. You mentioned, just before we go, you mentioned Ali, and you had an extraordinary relationship with him. You promoted more than 25 of his fights, and he was a close friend. Just tell my listeners something about Ali.
You know, one thing about Ali, he had a heart as big as a room. We had a saying, and we really put it into practice. If you gave Muhammad Ali $10,000 in cash, and you put him on 42nd Street in New York, and you asked him to walk to 43rd Street, by the time he got to 43rd Street, $10,000 would be gone. He would have given it away to people who came up begging for money. He just was, if you talk about a soft touch, Muhammad Ali was a soft touch because he believed in helping as many people as he could in a less organized way, I must say, than Pacquiao does. Pacquiao does it with projects, and he's organized. Although early on, when I visited him at his home in General Santos in the Philippines, I saw outside his house a lineup that went for a mile of people waiting, and there was Manny Pacquiao sitting in front of his home with all the security guards, giving away money to the people so they could buy an extra meal. But he stopped that because he realized that that really wasn't helping people. It was helping him initially, but it really long-term wasn't helping him. And so he's built hospitals and schools. He gives out more scholarships in the Philippines, pays for kids to go to college than the government does.
Amazing stuff. Bob, we could talk all day. Well, I'll see you at lunchtime today and look forward to catching up again. But thank you for all that you've done and for what you've done for Brisbane. And this is a remarkable engagement on Sunday between the young fellow, Jeff Horn, and Manny Pacquiao. Catch up with you soon, Bob. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Good talking to you.
There you are. Now, yes, when I say today, I've got to host a luncheon, massive luncheon, where all is royalty in Brisbane today and interview a lot of them. And they're here. It's an amazing occasion. This is as big as we've ever had